Oh, it's one of those days, isn't it? It's a catch up on projects days. This is my dog, Stella, my shop dog. Stella, the super dog. What are we doing? What do we got here on the floor? A bunch of crusty old DKW parts. Stella, you gotta let me look at this. Here is an old grill with the grill spear. The grill spear has got the 4 rings for the Audi. Not for the Audi. The 4 rings that constitute the 4 different car companies that merged to become Audi, I should say. So Horst, Wander, DKW, Auto Union, something like that. I might not be correct on that. And then I've got 4 pretty crusty DKW hubcaps. I'm trying to get these polished up. They are nasty. They are the best ones that I have, believe it or not. It's just really hard to find good ones. They look like little UFOs. See the dome on the top there and kind of the disc shape material. I want to put those on my black DKW here that I'm getting ready to paint the roof. Haven't had a chance to do that yet. I've been so busy with customer cars. So that's the DKW. The other thing we're working on, which is another personal project, is our Nash. We've got the Nash up on the lift, and I want to do a clutch. The clutch is slipping. It has the tiniest little transmission. This is the transmission from here to here, about as big as my palm. The rest of it's bell housing and the flywheel. But if you look at the drive line, which runs all the way back here, it's a threaded style. So to get the drive line out, you have to take the axle out. So in other words, I gotta loosen up the axle from the shackle bolts, push it back to get the drive line undone. It's the craziest thing, but it's the way they did it back in the day. I've thought about putting an overdrive transmission on this because it revs so high on the freeway, but that would mean a new drive line because the overdrive unit comes about here. I do have one of those, but I don't have the right speedometer gear. The shift linkage is different. The mounting's different. I don't know. So I'm going to take the old clutch out. It's an old finger clutch in there. You can see the clutch disc is super thin and it slips under acceleration. You just can't have that. So I'm going to get it out, get it rebuilt. Have to take it to a specialty shop. Nobody sells clutches for old Nashes. It's an 8.5-inch disc, and I hope they have the linings for it. So let's get working on it. I got the oil draining out of the transmission now, and I'll get the drive line out and get the transmission out and then get the clutch out. That's a pretty full day. Okay, after not too much effort, I was able to get the rear end loosened up, pivoted down, moved back, got the big flange nut off. Was able to get the drive line out. You have to loosen up the 4 bolts that hold on the axle to get the axle back, to get the drive line out, and then 4 more bolts, and the little tiny transmission comes out. So I might be putting in the overdrive one. The speedometer cable looks like I could bend it around this side. The speedometer cable on the overdrive transmission goes in about right here. We'll see. Still have the clutch in there. It's held up by the bell housing. I might be able to sneak the clutch and the flywheel out without taking the bell housing off. I'm gonna see how that works. Maybe. All right, so we're standing under my Nash, and I'm trying not to be frustrated. I thought maybe I could slip out the pressure plate out this slot here between the cross member. So then I realized I couldn't, and I tried to take the cross member out, and wouldn't you know it, booby trap number 1. All the bolts that are in there are hourglass shaped. They've rusted, so the bolts won't come out of the frame. So I've been trying to pry on them to get the bolts out so I can get the cross member down, so I can get the bell housing off, so I can get the clutch out. That's always nice. All 4 of the cross member bolts are, you can see that or not, are hourglass shaped from rust. And to top it off, I've got the transmission out. This is my old 3-speed standard transmission. Here is the 3-speed standard transmission with an overdrive unit. And I took the cover off this one to show the gears, to look at the gears. We've got second gear, first gear, if I could get it in to go first gear. Yeah, that's first gear, and then reverse and third is on this one. And to get the overdrive, you flip this lever down here. However, I think it has to go a certain speed before it can go into overdrive. I can't get it to go into overdrive. It should freewheel going one way and not the other. So I'm not sure the overdrive works. And to make things even more complicated than they already are, this is an electric solenoid on the overdrive housing to engage or disengage the overdrive. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but this is 12 volt negative ground. Later model car. My car is 6 volt positive ground. I don't know how I'm going to get around that. So between that, cutting the drive line, this transmission's got a bit of a intake or input shaft wobble. I don't know. I really want the overdrive. Don't know if I can have it. Frustrating. I guess working on old cars, you never know what kind of mess you're going to deal with. So I used my cutoff saw and I was able to cut this one bolt that's stuck in the frame. It's hourglass shape, it's half rusted. These ones are stuck in place. I've got to figure out how to cut those or tighten those or do something with those. And also my transmission mounts are loose as a goose. I don't know how that was working. I don't know what's up with them. I think they've actually dug into the cast aluminum somehow. I've got to figure out how to tighten that up. So that's an issue. And then the good news is I got the clutch out. The flywheel does not look, it does look a little damaged. It's got a little rough spot on it there. And the disc is down to the rivets. You can see the rivets are touching. So no matter how I would have adjusted this clutch, it's just out of friction material. So it's probably the original clutch, I'm guessing. I don't know. It's amazing if it is, but kind of looks like it. So there we go. That's job for today. Now we got to clean everything up, fix our huge fiasco up here, and see if we can get this thing off to the rebuilders, get it rebuilt, and decide what to do with our overdrive versus our standard transmission. If anybody has any ideas how I can make this overdrive transmission work with a 12 volt solenoid on a 6 volt positive car, please let me know right in the comments. That would be most helpful. Thank you.